first 8.5 minutes of this movie are a rehash of the first one, complete with epic credits. Got this guy on loan from the Empire Strikes Back set. Hell, even these guys should have known they weren't really in a Fortress of Solitude. The background is clearly blue screen. Criminals on Krypton are held by 2 hula hoops. You know, for kids.
Guilty, 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 guilty.
The return to the first movie forgets that Marlon Brando existed, probably because he would have been too expensive to remember.
You will lie down before me, Jor-El!
Jor-El's not here, man. And you didn't say that in the Frisbee prison last time. You said it before you were thrown into the Frisbee prison. Here we see Superman's mother carrying him in a colorful blanket through a Star Wars set. Why is this one lone green crystal part of the plan? Isn't green the color of Krypton? Oh, who f***ing cares? Just get to the action already. Exactly how much of the first movie does this second movie think I need a refresher course on? I wonder if this is the Superman where Clark Kent kisses Lex Luthor on the mouth and tells him, "I knew it was you." Superman 2 implies that Superman saved Lois in a very traditional way, and expertly forgets that he flew around the goddamn world 100 times to reverse time. The Golden Gate Bridge isn't some sort of danger cliche. In a flashback. Hey, they misspelled Donner on this credit. That is hilarious up. Wait a minute. Doing some research. Holy shit. They got a guy who did A Hard Day's Night to do this movie? I guess 100% of the world's action directors were Indiana Jonesing a Star Wars and a James Bond somewhere. Clark Kent steals the Sean Connery from the Bond movies.
Get your head out of the clouds, Kent. Where you been for the past 12 hours?
Watching the opening credits of Superman 2, I think. Also, how in the world does Clark not know anything about a terrorist attack at the Eiffel Tower after 12 hours? Everyone knows Superman exists at this point, right?
Eiffel Tower, in Paris.
He knows where the Eiffel Tower is, Olsen.
Perry White would be excellent at CinemaSins. Bill Cosby photo in 1981 proves you shouldn't put pictures of anybody famous anywhere in your movie, because one day they'll be wrapped up in a scandal.
Stairs.
Cop seriously becomes preoccupied with English to French translation, and that's how Lois Lane gets past him. Despite all of this, Lois somehow misses all the time-traveling equipment stored in the Eiffel Tower from Tomorrowland.
I hope you have not many sins left to be forgiven.
By the end of this movie, more than 100 for sure.
Did she hear something? Sounded like someone moving underneath.
Except she did not make any major movements or noises. This is some scripted bullshit. How is Superman not there yet? The guy went around the world several times in seconds. The guy made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. He's flying, but his cape doesn't know it.
Started.
Hey kids, that's Richard Griffiths, aka Vernon Dursley, playing Terrorist Number 3 in Superman 2. Now leaving Harry Potter in his hands every summer is an even worse idea than it was before. Superman gets here at the exact time of the stuff happening. How is Lois able to jump straight down from her position under the elevator yet still land on solid ground? This means the elevator was mere feet from crashing into a solid platform, right? Remember, Superman stopped this thing where you could see a full view of all of Paris from the height they were at. Take that, space! Sudden Zod space breath strip is sudden. The power of an H-bomb in space is apparently enough to free Zod and his cronies from the Smell the Glove album cover prison. Also, the Phantom Zone is awfully close to Earth and convenient for plotting sequels. Clark Kent is a super dick. I mean, seriously, he walks away from this kind of crash without anyone calling the National Enquirer? Movie that is not about Lex Luthor sure finds a way to cram Lex Luthor into the story for no reason. What purpose does it serve Zod to attack 3 people wandering around the moon? Can they not see planet Earth nearby?
The closer we come to an atmosphere with only one sun, the more our molecular density gives us unlimited powers.
He figured that out in a goddamn hurry, almost as though he's friends with the screenwriter. Movie denies us the scene of all the NASA people freaking the out that they can't contact their astronauts anymore.
I told you to...
This hologram is way better than any hologram technology that's come before or since. But one question though, why did they even bother doing this? If they had a way out of the prison, why not wait until after lights out? Because now a guard knows they're missing and they haven't even escaped yet.
Freeze!
Just what is the spotlight operator doing right now that he doesn't see them? Oh, he's watching a big game? Oh, well then, forgive my interrogation. Apologies, fellow sports fan. You go on with your bad self, watching games while actively moving the spotlight. None of the guards saw this hot air balloon flying over the prison. Only now, after several minutes of the prison guard seeing the hologram, does the alarm go off.
Very good, Miss Tessmacher. Very good.
Movie continues to shove previous movie's villain in my face, despite the fact that goddamn Terrence Stamp is in this movie already doing a fine-ass job of villaining.
North. Due north.
Aren't you both gonna freeze your balls off going to the North Pole in the clothes you're wearing? Aren't you all ready? Why didn't you drop by a Burlington coat factory before making this trip? 1980, when a newspaper writer is taking pictures on the job with a Polaroid instant camera. Help! I get the sense this happens way more often than we think, but still, lucky Superman's here today. By the way, some asshole's falling off the Empire State Building right now, but that ended tragically. Superman catches the boy who already fell for 20 seconds and definitely should be dead.
As you happen to be in Niagara Falls.
Clark is not around as usual.
Lois takes 2 movies to figure out the most obvious fact in all of comic book obviousness. Good thing the swath of Niagara Falls tourists who were around this hot dog stand cleared out, so that Superman could turn back into Clark Kent unseen. Also, since no one is here working at this hot dog stand, and since no money is exchanged, it is an undeniable fact that Superman just stole 2 hot dogs. I've just now figured out who paid for this movie's budget. It was Fresca.
Look, it's his home. It's Superman's home.
Lex finds the Fortress of Solitude by snowmobiling around the Arctic for a bit. And he's got a fancy new radar, sure, but Superman isn't currently flying here, so that thing was worthless, right?
Why didn't you go before we left?
That was 2 days ago.
Goddamn, this woman held her pee and poop for 48 hours? That's amazing. What did Luthor do with his waste?
No possibility for parole?
Your father, Jor-El, thought long and hard upon that question.
Wait a minute, Lex has been talking to this thing several times with no response. Suddenly he asks a question and it responds? How does it not know that this isn't Kal-El?
Your father, Jor-El, thought long and hard upon that question.
So just in case some French terrorists happen to have a bomb waiting to explode on the Eiffel Tower, don't throw it into space.
That explains the 3 alpha waves I've been getting on my black box.
My question is, why isn't the story of the astronauts who were killed on the moon all over the news right now?
I gotta admit, your disguise is nearly perfect. You had me fooled.
Boy, is he ever going to be sorry when she later finds out he's Superman, but he only used human observation to try and save her. Wait, why does holding onto a branch do anything when you're being carried by rapids? It's not anchored to anything, but it magically saves Lois and she's able to swim to safety because she's holding a branch. These people walking behind Clark, yeah, they're actively pretending they're not wandering through a life or death situation. F***ers.
You're what I thought was Superman.
Lois is willing to forget all the other huge reasons why Clark is Superman because of this one incident, which they surely wrote into this movie because everyone got tired of hearing about how the disguise is stupid and no one would ever fall for it. Yes, but will he turn water into wine later? And now, for no reason, here's an overly symbolic rattlesnake. Now back to your regularly scheduled movie.
I have powers beyond reason here.
Question. I get being faster and stronger because blah blah Krypton blah blah Earth and blah blah Sun, but laser eyes? How does that derive from your normal everyday physiology? Haha, this one alien is hilariously bad at Superman powers. Let's all laugh at how dumb and stupid and eye laser inept he is. They went through all this bull to prove Clark wasn't Superman, and then in the very next scene they're already pissing all over it because clumsiness. Lava lamp pillars. There he is, the Lovable County Sheriff from a couple of Roger Moore Bonds. The fact that this sheriff is able to coexist in the Bond and Superman universes means there's definitely something wrong with ours. Why are these assholes just standing in the middle of the road? I'm guessing because of hilarious hijinks, but other than that, Junior Cop allows strange criminal chick to massage his badge without offering up even so much as a what do you think you're doing? Can you read my mind? Can you picture the last movie I'm thinking of? Oh, I forgot, Lois. It's cold as out here. I never noticed, so sorry for you dying of hypothermia.
Listen, you warm enough?
He asks several minutes after flying this chick into the Arctic. You save. This breakfast place has blue and green condiment containers, and smaller junior versions of both. What the f*** is up with that? Why is it every time there's a new alien species or Terminator that comes to a place and time he or she doesn't belong, they always find the redneck bar? It's almost like screenwriters have a secret wish to hurt deserving rednecks. The hero can't do it, so they get the villains to do it, and it's hilarious. Also, they needed to go to Planet Houston because of their misunderstanding of the astronauts' radio message. But why didn't that lead them to East Houston, Idaho? Any rudimentary map is going to say go to Texas, and beyond this point there be dragons.
I found this crystal.
It's green, which denotes kryptonite, but I'm still able to touch it and stuff, 'cause reasons.
So what do you think? You like it?
I honestly don't know anything about the Fortress of Solitude. What is its purpose other than to show Superman interactive learning videos? Sadly, this movie has time for the Superman flies to the rainforest to get food that will impress Lois scene. The US Army is on the scene and attacking, and they're leading with an unarmored Jeep and 20 foot soldiers. Brilliant. This Jeep wrecks by driving up the semi that was thankfully left here in this position for some reason. Also, this guy survives this, probably because he's an obvious crash test dummy. Kind of fire.
Look, they need machines to fly.
Didn't you before you got superpowers? It's not like you've been this superior race all along. You just got these powers. Well, that is simply way too much fire for a simple helicopter explosion. I mean, Jesus Christ, that is a lot of fucking fire.
Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Strangely enough, yes.
And he will answer to me, or all of his cities will end up like this one.
Yeah, slightly burned, but still 95% intact. Also, shouldn't you have decimated, I don't know, a larger city before saying this, to make your threat, more credible and scary?
Once exposed to these rays, all your great powers on Earth will disappear forever.
I mean, it's totally and completely reversible, but the plot demands that it at least sound like it's permanent.
You can be hurt like an ordinary man.
Maybe you should consider just doing some over-the-clothes type stuff. Also, this goes to show the extraordinary lengths a man will go just to have sex. With no discussion whatsoever, Superman walks into the power-draining cubicle while Lois watches, and Lois fell in love with Superman, not Superman. Losing your powers is almost like your own personal 2001, only with way graphics. Here's another thing. Kal-El has never had to worry about the little things in life that might kill you. He has zero training and conscientiousness. This guy's gonna die the first day he gets back to New York. Sex on this thing is gonna be awful. Hilarious obvious drawings on the president's faces are hilariously obvious. Also, these flying bad guys and their single laser shots completely changing the literal faces of Mount Rushmore. Jesus Christ, did anyone take this seriously? Kind of special effects. How does he still maintain the right to f*** and sleep in Superman's ice palace after renouncing his Supermanness?
But there is one man here on Earth who will never kneel before you.
Who is this imbecile?
Gotta love Terrence Stamp as Zod here. This performance is worthy of taking a sin off. This vehicle is clearly driving on the wrong side of the road, yet the movie will completely gloss over it. Fine. I'm just curious as to how this car ever decided to drive on the wrong side of the road for this shot. There are no oncoming cars, no obstructions whatsoever. Just an American car driving on the British side of the road for an entire shot for no reason. This place serves, in order, hot beef, hot hamburger, as though you might want a cold one, hot turkey, hot liver, ew, and frank onions. What the f*** are frank onions? Honest onions? Blunt ones? Onions with frankfurters? Also, this diner with the baffling menu board has 2 signs letting customers know where their bathrooms are.
Excuse me, sir, would you care to step outside?
Clark has already forgotten he's not Superman anymore, but who are we kidding? This is basically if 8 Mile started out at the hour and 20-minute mark, because all it does is set up the redemption scene later. During his time as Superman, Clark apparently never picked up any hand-to-hand combat tips. It's funny, every time I remember this movie, it starts right here, where Superman's lost his powers and he gets beat up at a diner. But there was more than 80 minutes of setup to this. A bunch of nonsense involving Niagara Falls and the bad guys landing in Idaho for no real good reason. This should be around the 30-minute mark, but the movie is nearly over. Jesus, this guy's walking in cold that requires lots of layering, but sure, a light jacket will do. And I guess he doesn't need food or water. This motherfucker walked all the way to the North Pole. Father. Shining ice shard ex machina. Oh, Gene Hackman's in this movie. I literally forgot that. Dude, the door is right there. And seriously, this guy's based on the Jaws character in The Spy Who Loved Me, right? This asshole lifts Perry White's head through a run-of-the-mill drop ceiling tile, and somehow that incapacitates him. As I see a headline reading White House surrenders, I wonder, how do normal everyday activities keep going on like nothing's happened? I think I might like it, but still sit. Well, I see the green crystal of power actually gave Superman his powers back. No explanation needed. By the way, how does Superman know Zod is in the Daily Planet building? This whole movie basically proves Superman has no fucking clue where anything's going on unless he's in the area. But as soon as he gets his powers back, the first place he goes is the Daily Planet. I'm not sure why that exploded, but fun. Also, this movie is going to do not nearly as much damage as Superman and Zod did in Man of Steel, but it's still pretty ridiculous. Why didn't he lead them to a desert or mountains or something? Somewhere the collateral damage would be low.
The big one's just as strong as Superman.
You stated a fact. I must shove you. You gotta love these boring fights where everyone has the same powers. The only way anyone wins is because of the script.
He's caged and on.
How so? First off, he should be able to lift this thing because of his powers. Second off, Superman just put the needle back on top of the building without securing it, so even I could knock it off. I realize Zod isn't human, but why does he aim his laser sight here instead of the main tanker behind the semi? And really, if Zod is this powerful, why hasn't this little tank exploded yet? Wait, shouldn't the lasers at least melt the mirror? This is a little side view mirror that's supposed to contain this kind of heat? Are you fucking kidding me? Billboard now contains hilarious commentary on the scene. Here's a fight between immortals that is so intense the movie didn't have any money to show it. These assholes are such workaholics they don't give a shit about all the stuff going on outside.
Superman!
This is the same issue Man of Steel had in the same fight. These immortals have no real way of killing each other, so they keep inventing stupid ways to try and do it that don't matter and have no chance of succeeding. We'll just have to wait until someone gets their neck broken. Kentucky Fried Chicken product placement is way too obvious, but it also continues British directors' obsession with Kentucky. Welcome, Superman, to Flavor Country. I think this movie paid for all its bills in 40 seconds.
Never thought this thing would go the distance.
If Zod, Ursa, and Non all attacked Superman together, it wouldn't have. I'm finding it extremely hard to believe that the momentum of this bus can't be stopped by Superman almost instantly.
Superman is dead!
Why would you think that is the case? He's f***ing Superman. He can take a hail of bullets. You don't think he can take a bus crash? Almost 2 full minutes of the villains blowing New York City. Sure, let's double down on the Kentucky Fried Chicken ads. Welcome to Flavor Country. Boy, Superman took a long time to recover from that bus accident he totally should have been able to shrug off. Sure, let's double down on the Marlboro ads. Welcome to Flavor Country.
Our victory is complete. The son of Jor-El has fled.
Bullshit. You wanted to kill that guy, remember? You wanted revenge. You didn't get it yet. I'm glad they decided to keep this piggyback ride strictly hetero.
Hey! Never heard of parachutes?
No, but I have heard Gene Hackman, and you're not Gene Hackman. What the f***?
We must combine our strength.
You're just now thinking of this. Yeah, but why? Why is Superman stronger than all 3 of these people combined? Since when? Zod sees that all 3 other Supermans were holograms, and then stupidly thinks the 4th and final one standing in front of him is also a hologram. The misadventures of bullshit Gene Hackman continues. Why is Superman allowed to whisper to Lex Luthor for any reason during this scene? Why hasn't Zod, who is a megalomaniac, ended this discussion with more commands to kneel before him, or boasts about his penis size? All of Zod and his crew's powers have been completely ripped out of them, but they don't feel weak or anything like Superman felt after he did this because, surprises!
You're a real pain in the neck.
Thank God Lois was here so that Ursa could get her female comeuppance from a girl chick. Thankfully and suddenly, the Fortress of Solitude has a ton of infinite caverns to throw bad guys into. Yeah, this kiss is going to make her forget about Superman. But what a specific action that is to make someone forget about you. I guess this works if Jimmy Olsen ever finds out the truth too, right? Also, with the kind of magic we've seen in this movie, it's a wonder Kryptonians never invented something so you can have sex with a mortal woman.
Never seen garbage eat garbage before.
Seriously? Superman's out to get revenge? My hero?
This order's to go.
Sure, he repays him for the damage, but the inconvenience alone is a dick move. Superman really needs to think about finding more open spaces to fight.
I won't let you down again.
I'm still mourning those poor astronauts who died on the moon. Did Superman fly up there and bring them back for their funerals? Where Richard Pryor makes his long-awaited appearance in a Superman film.
Act like you don't bomb in Phantom, Joe!
Space, a final frontier.
Begging you to shut the f*** up. I got an idea. Let's make the car a place of silent reflection.
Let our powers combine. Earth, fire,
wind, water.
All right, 100. Miss Brandt, give this man his money and throw in a bar of soap.
Your wife is still on that line.
Flowers? How much? You spend any more on this thing, you can pick the daisies off my grave.
I'm Bruce Nolan for Eyewitness News. Back to you, f***ers.
Where's my comb? Where's my comb?
Oh, where is my hairbrush?
Cool, huh? 0 point energy. I save the best inventions for myself.